My name is Doug Bopst. I'm a personal trainer. I'm an author of 3 books. I host the Adversity Advantage podcast. But it wasn't long ago that my life was in the depths of despair. I was incarcerated on felony drug charges back in 2008, and fitness saved my life. Now, at the time, I was heavily addicted to opiates. I was snorting 300 to 400 milligrams up my nose every single day. I was selling drugs. I had 21 jobs at the time I was 21. I had damaged relationships. I was hopeless. I was feeling suicidal. I was feeling down and out. And my cellmate, who looked like a more jacked version of Brad Pitt from Fight Club, was sitting there playing Scrabble. And he was like, "You're gonna start working out with me." And at the time, because I had no self-confidence, because I was hopeless, I didn't think I wanted to exercise at all. As a matter of fact, I told this guy I could have been a model for Pillsbury. There's no way I'm working out. But a few days later, it was an important conversation that changed my life when we were in the jail cell and my cellmate started digging more into my story. And he asked me why I was in jail. And the first thing I did was blame my parents. I blamed the girls who rejected me. I blamed getting picked on. I blamed getting cut from the teams. And he looked at me and he said, "Quit being a victim." He said, "Quit blaming other people for your problems but yourself." And in that moment, it wasn't what I wanted to hear, but it was what I needed to hear. He said, "Doug, there's plenty of people whose parents get divorced who aren't in jail right now." He said, "There's plenty of people who get bullied who aren't in jail right now. There's plenty of people who get cut from sports teams that aren't in jail right now." He's like, "You have 2 choices. You can be a man, look yourself in the mirror, and say you got yourself here, and it's up to you to change where you go moving forward. Or you can be a victim, you can be a wuss, you can go cry in the corner and say, 'Woe is me,' and blame everybody else for your problems." He's like, "Most people will do that." So for the first time in my life, I felt invigorated, I felt empowered. I felt like I wanted to take a step forward. And I began to realize that he was right, that I had been blaming everybody else for my problems but myself. Shortly after that, in front of a bunch of grown men in the common area of the jail, I got down to do a push-up, and I collapsed. I could barely do one for my knees. I could barely walk up and down the steps because I was smoking a pack to a pack and a half of cigarettes a day at the time. I remember looking at my cellmate and saying, like, "Why can't I do a push-up?" And he looked at me and he was like, "'Cause you're fat." And I hated that word. I hated being called that. And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, Doug." He's like, "You have excess belly fat, you have a weak core, and you're overweight, so you're not gonna be able to hold yourself up to do a push-up, so you're gonna collapse." And I felt motivated and invigorated at that time to never be called fat again a day in my life. So my cellmate agreed to train me in there during my 90-day sentence every single day. And we set some goals to do a set of 10 push-ups and run a mile by the time my sentence was over. And with his motivation, holding me accountable, training me in there every single day, I was able to do it. I was able to do that set of 10 push-ups and run that mile. And for the first time in my life, I felt hopeful. I had a little bit of faith that I was going to be able to transform my life. I finally was able to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I finally was able to develop the self-discipline that I never had done before. And I was finally able to do the thing that I know I should have been doing, which was changing my habits, taking better care of myself, and dealing with my demons in a way that's healthy and conducive for my future. So when I left jail, I cried, and I asked my cellmate how I could ever repay him. He said, "Don't mess up and pay it forward." And he gave me a workout plan that I still have framed in my place today, so I never forget where I came from, got out, lost a bunch of weight, and then decided to become a trainer to help other people use fitness to change their lives. To hear more about my story and this full episode, make sure to check it out on Mark Bell's Power Project. The link is in the description below.